Guys, welcome to Construct Your Life. This three-part series with my man Nick. You know, he is a little bit of a wild card, bought and sold multiple businesses, just started a podcast. When him and I get together, we have no idea what we're gonna talk about. Probably gurus, probably something else, but it's always an entertaining conversation because I love the way he thinks. So make sure you jump into this episode and enjoy. We'll see you in there.
Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Guys, welcome back to Construct Your Life, part one with my man Nick, calling from his bunker. Blink once if you're hostage, blink twice if you're safe. So
I'm not safe.
So we're doing a little series, a little, whatever we want to do, whatever we want to talk about, right? And the problem is this guy comes in with a zinger the other day that the X community behind this has not stopped talking about because me and Reg brought it up. You know what's interesting? Taxes, and we're gonna get to what you posted in just a minute.
Yeah.
When you're a young kid, I mean young. I was in restaurant business. Like, we paid a lot of money in. I tipped out a lot of money. I always got money back. That was a good time for me.
Oh,
We always went to a lot of different places. I ain't got money back in a long time. And here's what's crazy. It's a delicate dance as a real estate and a business owner, right? Here's what sucks.
Yeah.
You're damned if you do and damned if you don't. I got to report enough to be able to buy stuff, but I want to write off enough so I don't have to pay in too much. It's a delicate dance.
Yeah, it freaking sucks. And I was so pissed. It was partially my fault. It's partly my fault because we sold a business mid-year. I should have done.
And we're going to unpack that. And we're going to unpack that. But we're going to unpack that because we're going to turn it into a tactical episode because we're skilled operators and there's always a good in it.
I like that.
But basically his post went, I've paid more in taxes this year than you pressure washing business owners do in top line revenue. Like, and it was so gangster because here's what sucks, right? You asked the other day also on the back of this, how do you represent your company? Like, do you say employee count, revenue? I changed my mind just now. You should say how much you paid in taxes.
That could be one way. I usually don't post stuff like that because I don't want to be an a-hole, but I was just so pissed I had to write that check. Oh my gosh, I was so pissed. Mainly at myself, but
and walk us through how you got here because here's what I think, right? As I get older, there's things that I don't think about, meaning a will, like a trust, these things that you don't plan for. We all act like we haven't had to pay taxes every year, and then it shows up and we're like, oh, there's this thing that we have to do, and like it's the same thing every year. How did you get to a part where you had to write too much? Did you know about the business you sold? Was it a timing thing?
So here's the basics of it. When you're a W-2 employee, you have your taxes taken out automatically, for the most part. You get to the end of the year, you file your taxes. There are some deductions. Maybe there's a mortgage interest deduction or student loan payment interest deductions, or some other things that you can write off. Maybe you have a car for work. But by and large, by the time you get to tax season, you're either getting a decent refund or maybe you have to write a little small check. Well, when you own a business and you're not a W-2 employee, and you get these things called K-1s, it's literally like waking up Christmas morning, except it's not always Christmas. It may be like you died and you found out whether you went to heaven or hell because you don't know where things are going to end up. You know what I mean? Like, you could get to tax season and you're in a great spot, or you get to tax season and you're like, I have to pay how much to who? So the problem is last year I sold a business and the way that taxes work is you can accumulate losses over a period of time. Well, this business had been losing. It sold. It turns out I had been taking some losses in previous years because I had other gains in previous years. And so the losses that I thought I had were not actual real losses. And I didn't do good enough tax planning at the time of sale to make that determination. I didn't go to my CPA. I should have gone to my CPA. My estimate was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. This is about my basis. This is what I'm getting. Oh, I'll net out to zero. Well, when I get my K1 to my accountant and he looks at it, he's like, oh, your basis wasn't, X. It was a quarter of that. And guess what? The delta you've got to pay in taxes. So there's a million things I could have done. I could have put that money into an economic opportunity zone and defrayed the cost defrayed the expense for years. I could have bought real estate and accelerated the depreciation through cost segregation. I could have invested in another business and written that off. Like, there was a million things I could have done, but here I am in freaking April looking like an idiot and got to wire this 6-figure check to the IRS. My wife was like, she looks at me and she's like, how did we not know this? And by we, I mean you. I'm like, oh my gosh. It was great. It was a great conversation.
Wow. Dude, hey, let me just tell you something right now. That hurts worse than wiring the money.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. It's freaking terrible. Pissed me off. So then I wake up and I'm like, you know what? Screw it. For all you freaking Twitter bros out there who are posting about your course of how to get somebody to $30,000 a month with their remote cleaning business, I just paid more in taxes than you're going to pay in top line revenue, or than you make in top line revenue this year. You're welcome. I probably shouldn't have fired it off, but it was from the heart. I just want you to know that it was from the heart.
Guys, let me take a minute to tell you about my buddies over at Lead Hub, Ben and Aaron, the best humans I know. Not only are they amazing at marketing for trade companies, but Ben started his HVAC company in his garage, sold it for multi-million dollars. So when this guy talks, I listen. When we took over Dietz Mechanical, we had 22 reviews in 22 years. In 7 short months, we went from 22 reviews to 107. We went from a 4.2 to a 4.7. We tripled our Facebook presence and we tripled our calls. If you're an HVAC, plumbing, electric, landscaping company, and you're looking for a no BS approach to marketing, you're looking for people who have done it before, you got to go to leadhub.net.
Well, what's interesting, right, is when you're young, right? I'm 41 now. By the way, I want to tell you, I was on a plane with a high school senior last week flying to Palm Springs. He was visiting his grandmother. I told him my age. He said, you look amazing for 41. I'm taking that to the bank for the rest of my life. I mean, it was
nice, man.
I said, I stopped what we were talking about and I said, thank you.
Was he blind?
Like, you have no idea.
Did he?
See, guys, no respect. Just no respect. No, listen. People think, and I'm dead serious because I'm one of them, okay? Just so we're clear. People think that a CEO's job is fun. Let me explain something to you. I spend 90, and I'm not even a CEO anymore. I spend 99% of my time talking to lawyers and insurance people and CPAs.
Yeah.
It really is the stuff that nobody wants to talk about that is the most important part. Perfect example. We had fraud in the business that we bought, and we bought a bunch of one-time expenses in vehicles. I asked the CPA, should we take the hit and just all at once in 1 year?
What'd they tell you?
And then build up from that? And he goes, yeah. Yeah, he said, take it all, just take it, So we're taking it all with, explained out bonus depreciation and the sellers. So there's a lot of different things to consider, right? But the laws in Pennsylvania, when you sell a business, are different. If they're owner financed out, which it is 100%, he still has to pay capital gain tax in the first year. Yeah. So each state is different. I'm not saying that you need to go out and study all this, but dude, this is where you get caught. And this is where I think most people mess up personally.
Hey, you want to know how stressful our job is? Okay. What's the most famous executive position in the United States? It's the President of the United States. Go and do a side-by-side of Barack Obama when he got into office and Barack Obama leaving office. Do the same thing with George W. Bush entering office and George W. Bush leaving office. They aged like 17 years in that period of time because it's a stressful job. That's what freaking running a small business feels like. I like look at myself even 2 years ago and I'm like, man, who was that young whippersnapper? I like weathered at this point. It's just stressful. It's stressful. And you want to hear this? Okay. So I post that tweet and I'm, oh gosh, I'm so angry. Well, a friend of mine calls me. He's like, hey man, I saw your tweet. I'm like, yeah, can you believe that? It's like, hey, I just want to let you know, just give you some perspective. I'm like, okay, what is it? I'm paying more in taxes this year than your top line. I'm like, wait, what? He's like, no, I'm paying more in taxes this year than your top line for taxes. And I was like, you SOB, you just called me to put me in my place.
Dude.
My
favorite tweet I saw after.
I was just going to say, here's the kicker. He owns $150 million in real estate. So it's not like he's not trying to reduce his taxes. You know what I mean? He's still got taxes to pay. Everybody has taxes. Oh, they're levels.
Was it Nevia or whatever that big company, the multi-billion-dollar company?
Mm-hmm.
Their stock went down, and they lost like $218 billion in one day.
Oh, Nvidia.
And Elon comments underneath it, rookie numbers. Tesla in the last 2 years has lost $720 billion in stock value. And it really is levels. My business partner paid $290,000 in taxes that day. Dude, now here's what I said to myself. I would love to make so much money that I had to pay that much in tax.
Yeah, you think that, and then you have to pay that in taxes, and you still find something to complain about.
And then you have to.
Yes,
it was the first year he didn't take depreciation. He knew he was going to have to pay it. The prior year he bought a condo, he bought a plane, all these things, right? So he knew it was coming. And we're joking about it, everybody, but I'm harping on the fact that I'm not saying you need to study the tax law, but you need to employ people in your stead who are looking out for you.
And don't get me wrong, I feel very fortunate. I'm incredibly lucky. Like I have no complaints. The thing that I was pissed about is that I didn't plan well enough. I didn't have to pay that to the government. I didn't have to, and I did have to because it was my own freaking fault for not doing the tax prep. So that's what I was pissed about. I don't mind paying taxes. I love this country.
Well, you know what's interesting about life? Many lessons we have to learn over and over again. I find that money lessons only have to be learned once.
I heard this really good quote. Stupid people make the same mistake over and over. Smart people make a mistake once. Right? It's like we all make the mistakes. It's just whether or not you learn from it and actually do something different the next time. So I agree with you. Money mistakes is a one-time thing.
All right, guys. So remember this. Talk to your CPA. If your CPA doesn't know what appreciation is, get a new CPA.
This is the truth.
We'll see you next time, guys. And share it with a friend.